You might think that the most challenging part of having 8 children and 1,000,000 pets basically is just, the general care of said people and animals. But I'm here to tell you that the most challenging part of children and pets is to keep your home from smelling like you have children and pets, and a lot of them. Now, if you're one of those people who doesn't mind the smell of dirty feet and pets stink, just kind of the general stank that comes with pets, then this video is not for you. Okay, but if you're one of the people like me who has a very sensitive nose, when I was pregnant with my first child, I could smell someone smoking a block and a half away, okay, through an open window in my house. A block and a half away, I could smell someone smoking. So I have a very sensitive nose, and therefore kids stank and dogs stank. It really just gets to me. And while I'm not super type A about my house being perfectly clean all the time or anything like that, if you've ever been to my house, you know that that's true. However, I do like for things to be tidy. I do not expect perfection. So these 10 tips I'm going to share with you guys today are coming kind of from that place of wanting to do the best I can to keep my home from smelling and looking like there's 1,000,000 kids and animals that live here, but in a way that's actually achievable and makes us enjoy our life and not feel like we live in a museum, okay? I'm not trying to have everybody just be walking around like zombies all the time and wearing white gloves. It's not that, okay? But there's a middle ground, and I would like to be there in the middle ground between hoarders and museum. That's where we want to live. That's the sweet spot. That's what she said. Tip number 1, grooming your animals. Now, before you go and say, Angie, I can't afford to take my dogs and cats and everything else to the groomer, I hear you. I hear you. And I'm going to tell you that I and Amazon have solved the problem for you. And that is this amazing dog grooming tool. I found this on Amazon, purchased it, and thought, we'll just see. Is this a kitschy thing? Is this actually going to work? Is this actually going to do anything? And let me tell you, first of all, I have my teenagers where they are using the clippers and all of that to actually groom our dogs. So we haven't even been paying to take our dogs to the professional groomers. We've been doing it at home. But one of the best parts of this tool that to me is just amazing is it's basically like a dog hair vacuum or cat hair vacuum cleaner. You take this tool and you vacuum your pet. And it just removes that loose hair that's just waiting to fall off and land on your floor somewhere and then turn into a big pile, in our case, of white fur that looks like we've added like an additional rabbit in the corner just living over there in its small little white furry fluffy pile. If you have pets that shed, you are really going to like this dog grooming tool. I highly, highly recommend. Tip number 2 is, this is a weird one, but again, just hear me out, is I put essential oils on my toilet brushes. I feel like toilet brushes are one of those things that, God bless them, it's a great invention. I just am always on the hunt for a better way because they disgust me to no end, especially if a child uses it and then puts it away and they used it for something you weren't. I'm not going to get into details. If you know, you know. So what I like to do is I like to just put a couple drops of essential oils in the bottom of the canister that holds the toilet brush itself. That to me at least helps if there's any leftover fecal or urine smell. Hopefully there's no actual fecal matter, but if there's any urine or fecal smell still existing on the brush, it just keeps it from smelling stank over there, okay? It's an easy tip, it's a quick tip, it's a pretty cheap tip. Number 3 kind of goes in line with that, is that I like to take cotton balls. I saw this on, I think it was on Pinterest. I take cotton balls and I put essential oils on them and I just leave them in the bottom of my trash cans. We put the garbage bag over the top. So this sits on the actual can and then you put your garbage bag over top, and it just kind of helps to cover if there are, I don't know, if there's like a poopy diaper in the garbage, just some old food or whatever that might be stinking up the garbage a little bit. Who knows, okay? You guys, let's just be honest. There's a whole number of things that children do that they throw away, that having children and pets will cause you to have to clean up and then throw away, that can smell up your garbage can. I don't think I need to list them all here. It's really kind of a neat little trick to help with the smell of garbage in general, especially if your garbage is in a very central location. I mean, we have garbage cans everywhere, all over our house, but the 4 that are in our kitchen, we have cabinets that pull out and it has 4 garbage cans, and those are right next to the sink. It's right where you're doing things. So if there's anything stinky in there, it smells up the whole kitchen. Okay, tip number 4 is to tidy counters and like countertops and rooms as you're going throughout your day. Everyone kind of has a different philosophy on this. I've read a bunch of self-help books or like mom help books that have different philosophies about how you should handle this. But I've just found that if I see something out of place, I just attempt to tidy it up, fix it up as I go. I do have an ADD brain, and so I can get very easily distracted. So if it's a large project that needs to be put away, cleaned up, something, I might not stop to do it. But the goal is to just kind of keep your house tidy as you go throughout the day. I also feel like if you're doing that and you're reminding your kids to do that, it does feel like you're tidying all the time, or you're reminding your kids to tidy all the time, but it does eventually kind of become habitual for you, and hopefully then for your children, to tidy as they go, tidy up after themselves. For us, with as many people as we have, again, these tips are really for like people who have a lot of kids, and so you've got a lot of people that are making messes. If you just let like all 10 people's messes pile up all day, and you're going to clean it up in the evening, like a one-time clean in the evening, you're going to be living in mess all day long. And I don't like that. It stresses me out. So I like to tidy and clean up rooms as I go. I find that at the very least, it makes my house feel more picked up, cleaner for 80% of the time, right? And that takes me to tip number 5. And this tip comes from a book that I recently read. Well, I guess not so recently, a number of months ago. It is basically to put things away. And you're thinking, well, duh, of course. No, but like, when you pick something up, take it to where it goes now. Don't move things around your house. Don't make piles of things everywhere. If you pick up something, for example, this hair comb, if I found this like in the dining room or whatever, I'm not going to take it from the dining room and move it to the kitchen counter to wait for me to go to my bedroom to put it away. I'm going to take it directly to its spot, directly to the bathroom, open the cabinet, put it in the little slot that I have for the hair tools or whatever. She goes into a lot more detail in her book about this, but it's the idea that a lot of times when we start working on projects, we kind of start pulling things out and making piles of things, and then sometimes those piles sit for a really long time. Her advice is to take things to where they go right now. It does mean you're walking a lot, but most of us could use the exercise. I know that I could always use the exercise. So making those extra steps to take things where they go at that moment, I find to be a really helpful way to keep my house tidy and picked up. And I found it to be a useful tip from her. It's hard sometimes to remember. I'm not perfect at all of these tips. Let me just say that. I should have said that in the beginning. I don't do all these things perfectly all the time, but when I do kind of get them all these wheels turning at the same time and following all these tips, that's when my house is the cleanest, tidiest, and best smelling. Okay, number 6, and that is having a donation bin. Now, she recommends that you have like a box or whatever you're going to put your donation stuff in, that it be something that you can donate as well. Well, the place that we donate doesn't allow us to just put everything in a bin and give it to them. We have to actually separate it when we get there. So for me, I have a bin that I got from Target, a cute little bin that I put my little label on that says donation. So when I have clothes, or when my older girls have clothes, or the little kids grow out of shoes or something like that, or even as I am tidying, organizing, and going through decluttering projects or whatnot, especially if it's like a smaller project. If it's a bigger project, I'm gonna need like a whole separate bin. But if it's a smaller project, so I can just keep stuff in that donation bin, and when it gets full, I take it out to my car, and then the next time I'm out running errands, I can just stop by, and I do have to like sort things into the bins that they go into. I take my donation bin bag home, and we're done. Really, her whole point about it is she doesn't want you thinking about it more than once. So once you decide to donate it, you put it in the box and you don't ever look at it again. If I'm feeling especially tender about the things that I'm putting into the donation bin, I will give my husband the task of taking that donation bin for me. That way I am not tempted as I'm sorting it into bins at the donation place to take anything back or be like, oh, I didn't mean to put that in there. Having an available space for you to put donation items, that's all that is for. It's not going to be used for anything else, and can be immediately taken to wherever you're donating as soon as it's full, I think is very helpful and practical and useful in keeping your home tidy so you don't have piles of stuff everywhere. Now, number 7, this is an old tip that I learned from Fly Lady. Fly Lady has been around long before people were making like cleaning videos and stuff on YouTube. I can't even remember. I mean, I feel like I've been reading Fly Lady stuff since my first daughter, who's almost 16, was a baby. But one of her tips was to shine your sink. And basically, you should go to bed every night with an empty, clean sink. And to me, this is arguably one of the best pieces of advice to having your home feel clean and tidy. I can tell you, just over the years, there's a massive difference in the way that I feel when I wake up and the sink is full of dirty dishes, and you know already you're starting like behind. You already have a chore like that to do before you've like even had your coffee or sat down or opened an email or anything. There's this like monster of dishes staring at you. When you don't want to, staying up and making sure that those dishes get loaded into the dishwasher, and then kind of the step 2 of that to make all of that happen easier and smoother, and you're less likely to run into a sink full of dishes at 10 o'clock at night, is to be loading the dishwasher as you go throughout the day. For me, this is about training the people in my family, okay? All of these things are great if I do them. Fine, fabulous. But again, with so many other people in my house, I have to be training the people in my house to be doing these things too, so that it actually works all the time, which it never works all the time. But we're going for like 80% here, and we'll be happy, you know? Number 8 is to use yummy laundry detergent and like fabric softeners and scented things. Especially when I'm washing like bedding and pillows, I shared with you guys recently in a favorites video, I think, about this beach scent. It's not a detergent, though you can buy it in detergent form. I use my typical laundry detergent, but I love to mix in like the beads or this beachy scent to help make everything just smell really delicious. I can't even describe. This has a very fresh scent. It's not overpowering in the sense that it's like, good Lord, it smells like 80 pounds of perfume. Your house is gonna smell like a brothel, okay? It just smells lovely and fresh and clean and beachy, and I love it. So whenever I'm washing bedding or like our sofa fabric, our sofa covers, brain not working, slip covers for the sofas, pillows for the sofas, all that kind of stuff, that's when I will definitely like fill up the fabric softener area to make sure that all of that stuff smells yummy and delicious. Blankets, stuff like that. I just really love having our bedding and furniture and everything smell really lovely and fresh. I think it helps with like the overall cleanliness scent of the house. Tip number 9 is to have good organization bins. I'm a big fan of organization bins. I do feel like if you are in the like super minimalist train, you can even still benefit from some good organization. But for those of us who are maybe more maximalists, organization bins are everything. We will not use the things we own if we can't find them or they're not well organized. And we redid our pantry this year. I loved the stuff that I used in the pantry from the Home Edit line at Walmart. And then I've also found some really amazing organization bins on Amazon, especially like what we have organizing our stuff under the sink. That project's been done since earlier this year, and we're approaching towards the end of the year. And I can tell you that all of that organization I did has lasted. It has stuck. Still looks like that under the sink. It's great. I will link a few of my favorite organization things. I recently got these, they're like things that slide onto the inside. Well, they stick onto the inside of your cabinet doors for you to put your pot lids in. Oh, amazing, amazing, amazing. Don't discount. I feel like sometimes people poo-poo organization bins and are like, just don't have so much stuff and then you don't need all the organization bins. Well, lady, this is my life, okay? I've got the stuff that I've got, okay? Let me organize it in peace. Thank you. And finally, tip number 10 is if you are like us and you break all the rules of pet ownership and you allow your animals on your furniture, I really wanted to be the person that refused to allow my animals on the furniture. It just didn't happen. So now we have giant dogs that jump up and sleep on our sofa. I try to have as much like leather or leatherette furniture that's very wipeable. That's great, but we do have cloth furniture, and I found these sort of like sofa, they're not slip covers, but it's kind of like a blanket slipcover-esque type item that you put over your sofa, and it's perfect because it allows us to keep that on there during the day when we're all just hanging out around the house. The dogs are jumping up there and sleeping. They're not getting their muddy paws and their hair and stuff all over the actual furniture. And then if we know we've got someone coming over, just fold it up and put it away. They're easy to wash and take care of, and it's just a great way to keep so much wear and tear. And again, you don't have to have, even if you've got little kids, you know, that are coming up with sticky fingers and they've got, you know, I don't know, Cheeto dust and chocolate on their fingers. You probably have more problems if your kids have Cheeto dust and chocolate all over their fingers all the time, but you know what I'm saying. And to keep that stickiness or milk or whatever in a bottle that they might be rolling around on and then spilling it on the sofa, it's a great idea to protect your furniture. I started by just purchasing the one and making sure that I liked it and that it worked, and I'm gonna see if I can find some other colors that kind of coordinate with our other sofa or other furniture so that it blends in well. That's what I really like about it, is you can find a lot of different colors. They're reversible, so you get multiple color options to make it blend in with your sofa better, but it's a sofa saver when you have kids and pets. I think I've pled my case on the sofa protector. All right, you guys, that is it for me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found these tips helpful. I have done another video like this that I will link down below with, I don't remember if that one was like 7 or 8, but other tips different from these that I shared in that video. So I will link you to that one if you want to go check that one out and get some more tips. I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.